Hey everybody, we know you caught the first video on this awesome 1936 Bentley barn find that Doug Prey just found. Be sure to stay tuned. We've got one more video coming up on it. I'm sure you saw the first one. This is the one about talking about how getting this car back under its own power after 50 years. Then this car has so much amazing documentation. That's coming up soon in the next video. Well, here we are at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company with this beautiful barn find 1936 Bentley. Now, this is the first time this car has actually backed out under its own power in over 50 years. Found locally in a garage. Bill here with the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company. You've been working hard on this car and you've got it running under its own power now.
And it wasn't an easy task.
I would imagine not. You mean you don't run down to the parts store and pick up parts for a 36 Bentley and slap new ones on it and fire it up and drive it around?
Not even a bolt.
Not even a bolt.
In fact, we didn't have the tools, the Whitworth tools, so we purchased a set of tools so that we could work on it. And of course, what we want to do is get it to where it would run and start easily and drive. So in order to do that, I'll show you under the hood on this side. First, we turn the hood ornament sideways,
okay,
so it clears. Hood opens from either side. It has the twin SU carburetors, and it had a strange looking ignition system with two coils.
That is kind of odd.
One of them is a spare, and even the ignition contact points. It has a spare set right up here in a box, ready for a tune-up at the side of the road.
Is it like an airplane with two coils?
It isn't, because they don't both work at the same time.
Oh, it's literally just a backup.
Just a backup. So this one was wired in, and I didn't have a key for the car, so I couldn't use the original electrical system. So I just built a little electrical system that would provide power to the ignition system and to a starter control. So I have a little mini dash that I put under the literal dash board. It's a board, and it's a beautiful piece of wood, I might add. So we had no spark whenever I began to rotate it over.
Okay.
Inside the distributor, it has contact points like all cars did of that era.
Right.
And they were corroded to all get out. But all I had to do was clean them and then set them, and now I had spark.
Okay.
The spark plugs are kind of...
That was pretty basic then.
Exactly. Well, the spark plugs are kind of unique. They're kind of a purple color. And we thought, well, we should reserve those and preserve them. So I took them out and I cleaned them all up, re-gapped them, and put them back in. And we got it to where it would crank good and it had spark. So that was exciting.
Absolutely.
So it has an electric fuel pump from the factory and no mechanical fuel pump. I haven't tested it yet, but I bypassed it with a motorboat fuel tank. And I pumped fuel and primed the carburetors, and I hit the key and it said, "Whoom!"
That was a good sign.
Well, everyone was surprised. But it was so incredible that something that's been sitting for 50 years required such a small amount of work. I say it was no easy task because there are things on it that we had to prepare for.
Right.
But when we got onto it, it was incredible.
Well, it's been well preserved and well protected. So it wasn't in the elements or exposed to anything. So that was made a huge difference.
Right, right. So let's see if it, since it's been sitting out here in the chilly weather, if it'll start readily for you.
Okay. It's kind of weird you're on the wrong side doing this, but
yes. So I have a ignition switch and the brakes work.
Wow, that's amazing.
On the steering wheel, it has some interesting controls. We can advance or retard the ignition timing. We can open the throttle, early day cruise control. And then we have the choke. Things were kind of stiff and rusted, but soaked them with penetrating oil, and everything came to life.
Wow, all those controls, just like they were set up in 1936, still work just as they should.
Yes.
Amazing.
It is amazing. It's an amazing automobile. The oil pressure was always of question. I changed the oil in the engine, and when we started it, the oil pressure came right up, real healthy and strong.
Wow.
Again, just
an extremely well preserved car. I mean, that's...
Yes, quite an amazing automobile.
So under here, this is quite a deal here. Obviously, we've got dual carbs. And is this whole unit the air cleaner assembly?
It is, and it has a slip fitting here that in order to take it apart, it's a little bit involved. It has to be unbolted from the carburetor with the Whitworth tools. And then this whole air horn comes off. I had the bells off of these carburetors, and they have pistons that float up and down with a metering rod that increases fuel or decreases fuel.
Okay.
So the mixture is very controllable. It's quite automatic for its time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It really was technologically advanced for 1936. I mean, this is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the engine compartment, I'll open that one up. For a temporary control, we added a more modern starter relay. Again, that's just temporary. And then my wiring to it that's fuse protected. And you can see the red cables that I put on there. Those are 2-aught cable, which is what's required of the 6-volt cars. They draw a lot of amperage for that voltage. So it's new battery cable to the starter solenoid and a new starter cable. And then the ground is with the battery in the back of the car.
So was that the original jack that these had?
Yes, and even the crank to crank the engine is stowed right here.
Oh, wow.
And then the piece that goes through the radiator.
Okay, so there's the crank handle and the piece that goes through the radiator, original jack. Obviously, that still has the original tags under here.
Yes.
Has a B up there, Bentley on there. I mean, they don't get any more original, I don't think.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
This car is primed for an excellent restoration.
Oh, yeah, because it's here. You don't have to go try to find any of this stuff.
Very complete.
Well, amazing. That's awesome.
It's been a lot of fun to get it running and see it come back to life after 50 years.
Oh, I'm sure. It's a fun project. Well, that's what's cool about being at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company.
Yes, we have fun every day here.
And this is a pretty neat project, something a little bit different, but still a beautiful car and an amazing piece of history.
It's a privilege to be a part of this organization and be able to have your hand on these treasures.
Oh, I would imagine. Coming to work every day, and this is what you're dealing with, and preserving history.
Indeed.
So, well, anything else you want to mention about this, or anything about the project of getting it running, Bill?
I think that's about sums it up.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy day and explaining some of this to us about what you went through and about how amazing it was once you got all the basics done, that this thing came right back to life and acts just like it did in 1936. So
thanks. It's a pleasure.
thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.